To begin this week's application, I decided to evaluate the Pacific Northwest Tree Octopus website, and before I even began with the evaluation, I thought I'd put myself in the shoes of my students and do a Google search on endangered octopus and see if indeed it was the first thing that was listed, the first link that was listed in the results page, and indeed it is. So going from that, I have about 5 minutes where I walk through evaluating the website using the REAL process described through Web Literacy for Educators by Alan November. After this, I have a bit of a reflection, focusing on what did I learn from the entire experience. Enjoy! Today I'm going to use the acronym REAL, R-E-A-L, to show you how you can quickly evaluate a website for validity. We're going to use the Pacific Northwest Tree Octopus site as an example for this. So we'll start right at the top with REAL, and that's the R. We read the URL. If you look up here, it says zapatopi.net. I have no idea who that is, if it was CNN.com or capital.k12.edu, then I would know it was either a reputable author, or if it had an extension that told me .edu, then I know it's someone in the education field, an actual educational organization. Doesn't really tell me much, so we'll move right on to E. E is examine the content. When we examine the content, we want to look at, is the information helpful? Does it have resources and links? Is it up to date? Is the information correct? And are the facts different from information I could find in other places? Well, I'm just looking through. The picture could easily have been photoshopped. Do I have any other pictures? What other information do I have here? Well, let's just kind of scan down through. Are there links? There are links. We'll look at those a little bit further when we get to the L. But it doesn't have a whole lot of information that's going to tell me, yes, this is reliable. How do I know that? Well, I'm going to go to the next step, the author. Who wrote this? Here's a ZPI. I could go back there if I wanted to. There's a little ad in the corner about the aluminum foil deflector beanie, the book they don't want you to read. Ooh, this is sounding a little bit more like a hoax at every moment. So let's scroll to the bottom and see if we can find the author. Not associated with any school or educational organization. Kelvonic University branch, the Wild Haggis Conservation Society. Just for fun, I did a Google on Wild Haggis Conservation Society and found every single link takes me back to some reference on the tree octopus. Again, don't know who it is. How else would I know, perhaps, who this is? Well, it would have a little About tab here. About me. Who are we? I don't see any of them. I'm beginning to wonder about the authority of my author. Your final part in REAL, we've read the URL, we've examined the content, we've looked for the author and owner. All of these have left many questions in our mind. Our final step is to look at the links. Okay, we'll go to the bottom. Where do they tell us to go after this? Links for a better tomorrow. Save the mountain walrus. The saber-toothed salmon, fur-bearing trout, yeti crab. Wow. A lot of hoaxy type stuff going on here. I'm really beginning to wonder. But then I go down here, greenpeas.org. Okay, I think they really mean Greenpeace, right? So let's see. Takes us nowhere. Right? Try one more. How about the World Wildlife Fund? I love the World Wildlife Fund. There we go. Oh, we've made it to a real link. Now, does this mean that the World Wildlife Fund sponsors or in any way agrees with the information on the other site? Absolutely not. All right. Interesting here. Look, I know this is valid. Start with URL, the worldwildlifefund.panda.org. If you've ever been to any zoo, you know about the World Wildlife Fund, hopefully. Who are we? They give you information about who they are, how to contact them, their history, their network structure. Interesting. Let's compare their tiger page because the tigers are endangered. Look at their tiger page. They give us facts, they give us figures, they give us pictures. They give us information about tigers. There's a lot of neat information here, and look at how professional the page is. Whereas if we go back to the tree octopus, it starts to look rather cartoony. Now we know this is not a valid site. Just in case we weren't sure, what's another quick and easy way to figure it out? Not a guarantee, but if you go to Wikipedia, type in the Pacific Northwest tree octopus, what's the first information you get on it? It was an internet hoax created in 1998. Well, there you go. We know it is not valid. In summary, perhaps what I realized most from the lesson of this week is it's not really our job to forbid certain sites or tell students that something is always right and other things are always wrong, but it is our job to help them ask questions. It is our job to help them understand how to critically evaluate all of the information that they find. There are good ways to do this. There's simple ways to do this. And really the acronym REAL that's presented by November is, I think, one of the most effective. When I'm talking about high school students, which I teach, and 45-minute classes, they get into the computer lab and they have a very limited amount of time to go through, put in their search terms, and start evaluating sites to decide where can they pull information from and which sites should they avoid. Additionally, I cannot wait to continue to use Jing and Camtasia to create more presentations for my classes. I personally have had more fun playing with the software this week and creating the pop-ups and playing with the audio. So it has definitely been a bonus for me to work with this. Am I going to use the Pacific Northwest tree octopus for my students? I haven't decided. My 14-year-old looked over my shoulder and said, "Mom, that's so bogus," just by the picture that was photoshopped. So I'm not sure whether or not I should look for a different site that might be a little more challenging for students to realize that it's not true. In any case, very interesting application, and I hope you have enjoyed listening to it as much as I enjoyed producing it. Bye.